the respiratory system consists of the upper respiratory tract, the lower respiratory tract, and the lungs. The upper respiratory tract consists primarily of the nose, pharynx, and larynx. The lower respiratory tract includes the trachea and bronchi, which pass into the lungs. When we inhale, air typically enters through the nostrils in our nose into the nasal passages. Lining the nasal passageways, mucus and microscopic hair-like membranes called cilia trap and remove dust and germs from the air as it flows through. The cilia can sweep mucus and dust at a speed of about 2 centimeters per minute, like a slow escalator, towards the pharynx until eventually it can be swallowed or coughed out of the body. Damp mucus is also a good humidifier, adding moisture to the incoming air if it is too dry. 3 flat, spongy plates of bone, called nasal conchae or turbinates, protrude into the nasal passages. Blood flowing through the membranes on these plates causes them to act like radiators, warming the air as it flows by. Air moves from the nasal cavities through the pharynx or throat. Lined with muscle and mucous membranes, the pharynx is like a hallway for both the respiratory and digestive tract, since both air and food must pass through this organ before reaching the appropriate openings at its base. The pharynx also plays a role in speech. It changes shape in order to produce vowel sounds. Food passes from the pharynx into the esophagus, while air passes into the larynx, which is also called the voice box. The structure, called the epiglottis, acts to block food from moving into the airway during the process of swallowing. The larynx is composed of cartilage and muscle. The thyroid cartilage, which forms our Adam's apple, is located in the larynx. 2 thin muscular strips coated in mucus, called vocal cords, stretch across the larynx and vibrate as air passes over them, producing sounds. Muscles in the larynx manipulate the vocal cords. For example, loudness depends on the force of the vibration. Pitch depends on the frequency of the vibrations. Children and women usually possess shorter vocal cords than men, which is why their voices tend to be higher pitched. The trachea, or windpipe, connects the upper respiratory system to the lower respiratory system. Roughly 1.5 centimeters in diameter and 10 centimeters long, the trachea is a membranous tube reinforced by tough, C-shaped cartilage hoops, which provide structural support. It is lined with mucus and cilia, which trap inhaled dust and debris, propelling these particles upwards towards the pharynx, where they can be expelled by coughing. Anything that obstructs or blocks the trachea can prevent breathing and cause death. That is why the Heimlich maneuver, a procedure to expel food or a foreign object from this blocked airway, was developed. The left and right primary bronchi branch off from the trachea and conduct air into the left and right lung. The bronchi continue to branch off into smaller and smaller passageways, distributing air throughout the lungs. Bronchitis is an inflammation of the bronchi, resulting from a cold or infection. Asthma can cause bronchoconstriction, resulting in partial or even complete closure of the bronchi.